Hey everyone, it's Caitlin, your favorite mission girl, wannabe Jedi, Disney nerd, and all-around pop culture geek. Welcome to this week's edition of Mission Girl PCN, or Pop Culture News. I don't know if I have a lot of information, and when it's written down, it looks like a lot. I've got some news about Once Upon a Time, Supergirl, and of course Rebels coming at you. I've also got my views on the last debate, which isn't a lot. So let's get started. I don't want to take up any more of your time than I have to. So let's get the unpleasantness out of the way and start with last Wednesday's debate. Of course, I was upset. I'd missed the episode of Criminal Minds where Emily comes back, Paget Brewster, and I was really excited. But I had to close that night, and when I came home, I really didn't feel like watching TV, and I never got a chance to see the episode on demand. But I was kind of hopeful to watch last week's episode of Criminal Minds, because I'm like, yay, Wednesday! I don't have to work, I can watch Criminal Minds, I'm going to have fun, I'm excited, I'm like, yes, Emily's back, it's going to be a good episode, it's going to be a great episode, yay, Criminal Minds! And no Criminal Minds, because, of course, we had the final presidential debate. Yippee. Yeah, I was very upset that for some odd reason, presidential debate took out Criminal Minds. I'm like, really? I mean, the only reason we're kind of watching the presidential debates is to see how bad Clinton and Trump are actually doing, but do you really need to be showing it on every single channel? And then the more I thought about it, the more I went, well, I guess any sitcom that's going up against the debate is going to go wha-bam. So okay, I was mad at first, but I accepted it. And I can't really say a whole lot about last week's debate because I did not watch it. I proudly admit that I was one of probably many people who opted not to tune in to the latest reality TV show, that is the American political system. I'm sorry, at this point, it really is just another reality TV show, another train wreck, and I'm just so tired of it. I even posted on Twitter that the reason I didn't turn in is I was just so tired of the hate and negativity from the previous debates and from the commercials and the news articles that even I myself am finding it hard to stay bubbly, okay? And that's kind of an amazing thing for me to stop. It takes a lot to get me down, and no, I can't stay bubbly and positive about the future of my country when I have two people, neither of whom is a good choice for president, but especially the one. So it's like, no, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to put up with anything about it. So I didn't watch it. However, what did surprise me is the headlines that came out of it. Who was making the headlines? Well, of course, Trump and Clinton had their fair share, but surprise, surprise, the big star of the night for last week's debate wasn't Trump or Clinton. It was the guy who moderated the debate. Apparently, he did exactly what a moderator is supposed to do. Unlike the previous moderators who I guess have been letting Trump walk all over the debate stage and Clinton following, this guy actually laid down the law. So congrats. I think his name was Ben something. He was a Fox guy from Fox News, which was kind of cool. So congrats to you, dude. You finally did the job of a moderator in a debate. So yay, awesome. Of course, this last debate means we are pretty much, well, not just days, but a couple weeks, but okay, let's face it. We are days away from the U.S. presidential election. And apparently there's been a record number of people registering to vote. If you haven't registered to vote yet and the deadline in your state hasn't come, please go register to vote. I have a feeling if I wasn't registered to vote already, my mom would be dragging me down to get registered. Thankfully, I'm already registered because I registered in time for the first to elect President Barack Obama the first time around. I admit it, I voted for him twice. But so I am registered to vote. I hope all of you who are old enough to vote are registered. If this is your first year voting in an election, yay, you couldn't have picked a better year to turn 18 and be eligible to vote. So hopefully you're all registered to vote. If not, and the deadline hasn't passed yet, what are you waiting for? Go get registered, okay? But the election is, like I said, just days away, and it's apparently going to be a record-setting election because of how many people are going to turn out to vote. Excuse me. Now, as I've said numerous times, I am anti-Trump. Just because I don't think the guy is fit to be president. Okay, Clinton is a liar and basically a criminal and a bad person. but she's marginally better, just marginally better than Trump, and I trust her more than him. So I'm voting for Clinton, but really at this point, Trump is going that he's going to win, and apparently he's not going to accept the results of the election, which is like, you'll just throw the country into turmoil, but okay. So really at this point, after hearing that he didn't really do so hot at the debate, I'm kind of wondering, does Trump still really even have a chance at this point in time? I mean, on top of his very controversial and views, there's also all this news. It seems like every day when I go to Yahoo or I check out news headlines, there's something new about a new woman coming out of the woodwork and accusing Trump of sexual harassment, sexual assault, and it just seems that it's getting more and more and more as the time goes on. And even at this point, a woman from like when he owned like the beauty pageant or something talked about how Trump would come in when the girls were getting changed and stuff and just stand there and stare at them and talk to them. And it's like, oh, that's not creepy at all. And Trump's like, I ran the pageant. I could do it if I want to. And I'm like, yeah, there's a word for that, but I'm not going to say it. So really, and on top of this, with all the women coming out, Trump is actually threatening to sue the women who are accusing him of sexual assault. And it's like, okay. So I know you can do that, but it's like, you just admitted that you do talk like that, you do act like that, and you can get away with it. But okay, whatever. So at this point in time, does Trump really even have a chance anymore? Maybe at the beginning I thought maybe there was a slim possibility that he would have had a chance of being president, but now I don't even think he has a chance in heck at all. So what do you guys think? If you even feel like talking about the election, do you think there is a chance that maybe Trump will be our next president? And if so, do you think that maybe once he's in the White House, he might actually turn things around? Who knows? I'm hoping he's not going to be the next president, but we'll just wait and see. Now let's sweep all that unpleasantness under the rug. No more talk about the election. Let's get into what you guys want to talk about, which is pop culture news. Nothing really big in the way of theme parks or attractions or anything like that. Of course, if you're a fan of The Ellen Show, which I kind of am, and you know about our executive producer, Andy, you have to tune in for this Thursday's episode of The Ellen Show. She already announced that this is going to be the day where they show Andy going to the haunted house. And if you don't know why I'm excited, go on YouTube and check out Andy Goes to a Haunted House. You're going to cry when you laugh because you're going to be laughing so hard. It's so funny. It's really awesome. So yay, this Thursday on Ellen, Andy's going to be sent to a haunted house. Woo! Yay. Hopefully he does not use his assistant this time as a human shield. He's done that in the past. A lot. So Andy's going to the haunted house. That's going to be awesome. But let's kick it off with last week's episode of Once Upon a Time entitled The Strange Case. Now, it's no brainer where this episode's title comes from. It comes from the novel The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which, as I said before, is one of the creepiest stories. It's actually one of the cooler stories to read this time of year. Because it's basically about a guy who drinks a potion and is able to split himself into a completely different personality, Mr. Hyde. And Mr. Hyde goes around and does all this awful stuff, and Mr. Jekyll takes responsibility, and in the end, Dr. Jekyll actually ends up dying and killing himself and Hyde so that nothing bad happens. Anyway, last week's episode of Once Upon a Time, it definitely said who is the eviler personality. You know, not only has Dr. Jekyll completely separated himself from Mr. Hyde, creating two separate individuals, or doppelgangers, but Regina herself drank that potion and ripped the evil queen part of her out. So Regina is technically no longer evil, just like Dr. Jekyll was not evil. But as is seen in last week's episode, that's not the case. See, Mr. Hyde wasn't kidding when he said that he wasn't the darker, the eviler personality of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It was actually Dr. Jekyll himself who actually went overboard and was the one who committed the atrocious crime itself. So actually, Dr. Jekyll was the bad guy, the evil side of the two personalities, while Mr. Hyde, it turns out, was actually this kind of decent guy who, after what Dr. Jekyll did, Mr. Hyde went off the deep end. So it's obvious that the person you think is good might not be that person. It might be the one you think is evil. It's totally confusing. But Regina is forced to confront this idea that just because she's ripped out the side of her that is dark and evil, and which is now running loose around Storybrooke, causing all sorts of chaos, there is still a chance that Regina herself might become evil again, might reach that same depth. And this time, it won't be because she has a part of her that's the evil queen. It will be her, Regina, who is actually a really nice character. In fact, after the first season, I really felt sorry for Regina because, especially when she sacrifices, Henry is willing to hand Henry over to Emma, granted, whom they haven't really had that good of a relationship yet. She really says, Emma, here, take Henry. Take him away so he doesn't get impacted by this curse that's coming, and takes away their memories. It's like, how great is this woman who, at the start of the series, was like this no-holds-barred, evil-as-they-come villain, and by, like, the second or third season, she's actually one of the nicest people in my mind. Okay, she still has some issues, but when you look at her past, you can't really blame her. Some people just have to get past some stuff, and once they get past this stuff, you see they're actually really great, a la Regina. But after seeing what happens with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in Strange Case, Regina freaks out. There's a chance that she could become as evil as the Evil Queen again, which forces her to ask Emma to make the ultimate sacrifice. Not Emma herself. Regina says if she ever gets that evil again, she doesn't want to go back to causing death and destruction. The instant she steps over that line, she wants Emma to take her out. Now, if you saw last week's episode, you know what I mean when Regina told Emma to take her out. If not, go watch it, please. So yeah. Also during this episode, Rumple, our favorite, switch sides every single episode, is still trying to, I'm not sure what he's doing at this point with Belle. His relationship with Belle is now he's just freaking obsessed with her, and no longer just obsessed with her, but obsessed with their baby. Yeah, the baby she's carrying that. When she was unconscious, the baby appeared as Morpheus, spoiler, and told Belle not to trust his dad. I'm not sure what exactly that means, but I guess if your unborn child pops up in this dream as this ultra-powerful being and says, do not trust my father, go, okay. So Belle at this point has not been trusting Rumple. Rumple's still protecting her, and he tells Belle, you must take care of our kid. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Weren't you just a few seasons ago going to go kill your own grandson because of some one-eyed lady said? Okay, whatever. So Rumple is just confusing me at this point because it's like, okay, why do you need Belle to protect the son? Shouldn't you protect the kid? Or whatever. I do know that he has some sort of thing going on with the evil queen I don't know. Rumple, his whole storyline so far this season has just been really confusing, and I hope it clears up. Another side plot in a Strange Case is Snow White, aka Mary Margaret, finally went back to work as a teacher. But once there, she was confronted with an unsettling truth. Her students, now fully aware of their lives as storybook characters, are no longer learning like they once were. They've kind of reverted back to a mindset. The modern ways of teaching aren't going to work for these kids. So Snow White, with the help of a new teaching aide named Shirin, taps into her past as the awesome kick-butt Princess Snow White who fires bows and arrows without even thinking, and gives them a lesson that the kids not only enjoy, but they learn. So Snow White herself learned a lesson. With this new, now that the storybook and our worlds have fully meshed in Storybrooke, she has to adjust how she teaches to fit her students' past and identities. So yay. Next week's episode is going to be titled Street Rats. And in case you can't figure it out by that title, that means we're going to Agrabah and we're going to see Aladdin and Jasmine. Yes! I'm so excited. Aladdin has always been one of my favorite Disney movies. So I was really thrilled when I heard Aladdin and Jasmine were going to be in the season. Frankly, I think maybe they should have done Aladdin and Jasmine before they did the Frozen characters. Because I think when Frozen came, we were kind of on Frozen overload. I like how they did Frozen. But maybe they should have stuck with more classic Disney characters like Aladdin and Jasmine. And okay, where's Pongo, by the way? Archie's dog, Pongo? I really want to see Pongo again. Another one of my favorite movies is 101 Dalmatians. So, yeah. Please bring back Pongo. I want to see the puppy. So yeah, next week, Aladdin and Jasmine are back on Once Upon a Time, and I'm really well. Actually, it's tonight. Tonight's episode is Street Rat. So yay, Aladdin and Jasmine. Ooh, Genie. Maybe. I don't know. There's going to be a Boo. I hope there's a Boo. A Boo was funny in the movie. So yay, Aladdin and Jasmine back. Woohoo. All right, on to last week's episode of Supergirl, The Last Children of Krypton. This was kind of a goodbye episode. Now, when they announced that Clark Kent, aka Superman, was going to appear on this season of Supergirl, I thought it was going to be for a big story arc. I thought it was going to be on for maybe 4 or 5 episodes, maybe even the first half of the season. No, The Last Children of Krypton was actually his final appearance. Final for now. Hopefully we see him more throughout the season. But he actually leaves National City in this episode to go back to Metropolis. Makes me sad because he's cute and funny, and Lois is so lucky and she doesn't even know it. But it was the last appearance of Superman, and also, surprisingly, what I don't think any of us knew, spoiler alert, it was the last episode with Cat Graham. Callista Flockhart has left the show. Yeah, Cat Graham tells Kara that much like Kara is taking a leap of faith and trying out a new career as a reporter, Cat herself is leaving her job as the head of the Catco to go pursue other opportunities, basically doing what she told Kara to do, close your eyes and jump into the lake. And it's like, wow. So in one episode, Kara had to say goodbye to 2 really important people in her life. And while she'll keep in contact with Clark, there's really no guarantee that she'll keep in contact with Cat. And it would make a big deal, I think, for Kara to stay in contact with Cat, especially in this episode. Especially, I feel like we see how much Cat actually cares for Kara. I mean, in a way, I think she sees Kara as like maybe a younger version of herself, or even a little sister or foster daughter. I mean, she's there for Kara when things are tough. She pushes Kara. She's encouraging her. Sometimes we can't see that, but I think she really cares deeply for Kara, and she also cares really deeply for Supergirl, who is, of course, Kara. So I think maybe Kara saw Cat as like another mom or sister herself, so I think it's a big deal for Cat to lose not only her cousin, who we know she'll keep in touch with, but also this woman who was a boss and a guiding light. So it's like, okay. So Cat's gone, and it surprises me who is taking over for Cat. Does it surprise you guys too when you watched it? Jimmy Olsen will be the new head of Catco. Okay. Exciting. I'm still bummed about his and Kara's relationship, but this could be interesting. Also, Kara's new bar scrapper, who is supposed to be teaching her how to be a reporter, he doesn't like her and calls her Ponytail. Okay. Hopefully Kara can prove that she is just as an awesome reporter as her cousin Clark. So I'm really excited. We also get a look into the new bad of the season, well, at least the first half of the season, Cadmus. Cadmus is a group run by a woman who obviously does not like aliens. They have a very anti-alien agenda to the point where she infuses the bad guy from the first episode of the season, The Adventures of Supergirl, with kryptonite to make him nearly invincible to Superman and Supergirl. In fact, he kind of almost beats Supergirl he does beat her basically into a bloody pulp. Which makes Clark very unhappy, because turns out the only people who have kryptonite are the DEO, because Hank decided to keep the green kryptonite they found just in case Superman ever went woohoo, which does not make Clark happy. But thankfully, Hank worked things out, and Hank actually says, here's a kryptonite, do what you will with it. So, yay. Hank and Clark are clearly friends, and obviously Clark feels comfortable enough with Kara working at the DEO that he is able to leave her. So, not too much, just kind of a goodbye episode, really, with Cat leaving, Clark leaving, Jimmy moving on up. Finn, I don't think, is working at Catco anymore. I think it's pretty clear that he is now working at DEO full-time. Yay for Finn. He is obviously very much in love with his new job. Next week is titled Welcome to Earth, and features the return of a classic the actress behind a classic superhero. Linda Carter, Wonder Woman herself, will be appearing on Supergirl, not as Wonder Woman, but as the President of the United States. I'm so excited. I love the Linda Carter Wonder Woman show. It is so cool when I can catch it, and I think I catch it on MeTV. I love Wonder Woman. She is awesome, and I'm kind of excited about the new Wonder Woman movie. I'm not sure how that's going to turn out, but it'll be so cool to see Linda Carter back in action, even if she's not wielding the lasso and the armbands and the shield or whatever. I'm so excited to see Linda Carter back on TV. I think she's awesome and an amazing actress. So tune in, not next week, Monday. Oh my gosh, my mind is fried. I did so much stuff this weekend. So actually, tomorrow night, tune in for the next episode of Supergirl entitled Welcome to Earth, featuring Linda Carter as the new President of the United States. Yay! All right, let's move on to last night, Saturday night, with Rebels, Star Wars Rebels. Now, I'm not going to talk about some of the rumors that have been floating around. A lot of articles have been popping up with spoilers for Star Wars Episode 8. I haven't even read those yet. I'd rather focus on Rogue One, that thing. Yeah, that thing. Then focus on Star Wars Episode 8. We have a lot more time before 8 comes out than we do before Rogue One. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so last night's episode was titled The Last Battle, and it was actually Rex-centered, which is really nice. Rex has always been one of my favorite characters ever since I first saw him on the Clone Wars, and I was thrilled when he came back in Season 2 of Rebels. He is awesome, he is brave, and in some ways I think he absorbed a little bit more of Anakin than what we thought. But anyway, on the last battle sees Rex, Kanan, Zeb, Ezra, and Chopper off to Agamar to salvage what they can from an old Republic transport ship. I think it's actually a separatist ship. They aren't really clear, but they have to salvage some weapons and stuff. Starts going as planned, and as they approach the ship, Rex actually kind of starts reminiscing about the old days because Ezra finds the head of a battle droid in the sands. And Rex starts talking about the battle droids and said, they're kind of programmed like us. And Ezra goes, wait, what, program? And Rex explains to Ezra how the clones worked, how they were kind of not engineered for battle. So we're going to learn, so it's obvious that Ezra has never really thought about that like before. And we also see something else we've never really seen before. Rex is clearly struggling. It's obvious he still hasn't found any closure from the Clone Wars, which kind of makes sense. The Clone Wars did in a way for him, and later on as we learn Kalani and the other battle droids, came to a really abrupt end when Clone Order 66 happened, the clones were decommissioned, and the Separatist droids and the Separatist army were turned off. So in a way, the clones and the droids never had a closure. In fact, for them, the Clone Wars is still going on because neither side won. Ezra struggles, I think, a little bit to understand exactly what Rex is going through, and this leads to Kanan saying one of the other coolest one of the quotes that I am sure will be like one of the top 5, if not one of the top 2, of the season, which is Kanan tells Ezra, battles leave scars, some you can't see. And I think it's true not only for the Star Wars universe, but for anyone in real life who's ever served in any type of armed conflict. Battles do leave scars, and sometimes those scars you can't see. Sometimes those scars are memories that you just can't shake. In fact, after the group are caught by battle droids and are stunned, when Rex awakes, his brain is so foggy and confused that when he sees Kalani and the other battle droids and hears Kanan calling for him, he actually calls Kanan Cody. That's a big hint that Rex still has a lot of issues. And so does Kalani, who was on Oridon when Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan went there to train Saw, Steela, Lux, and the Oridon Rebels, or Freedom Fighters, let's face it. They were rebels ahead of their time. Kalani reveals that when Order 66 happened, he thought it was a Republic trick. So he was able to override the droid shutdown command. That's why the droids on Agamar are still alive, still roaming around, and still going, Roger, Roger. Which makes me laugh because Ezra hears that and goes, who's Roger? And I'm going, I don't know, but it's funny. So I actually kind of like seeing the battle droids back with their kind of really... They weren't really like that funny, but it still made me laugh hearing the Roger, Roger and the, oh boy, we're in for it now comments. It just made me laugh. It was awesome. Kalani, like Rex, wants closure for the Clone Wars and is determined to prove that if the Clone Wars had continued as they were supposed to, then the Separatists would have won, overwhelming the Jedi, the Republic, and the clones. So to do this, he challenges Rex, Ezra, and Kanan to take part in war games with Zeb as a hostage because, as Kalani said, the Lasat weren't even involved in the Clone Wars, which is kind of interesting. I thought pretty much every place in the galaxy, except for, well, even the neutral systems at one point, were kind of involved in the Clone Wars, but apparently not the Lasat. Yay! Rex and Kanan don't want to do this. Now, we have to remember, it wasn't just Rex who fought in the Clone Wars. Kanan did too, and Kanan saw him from maybe a different perspective than Rex did. Remember, Rex got his control chip checking out, so he never betrayed the Jedi, and in fact helped probably I think was one of the helped Ahsoka maybe escape. Kanan, on the other hand, saw the full effect of Order 66 when he witnessed the clones killing his master Depa Billaba, then turning their guns on him. So, at least Kanan no longer has issues with Rex, but it's clear the Clone Wars is kind of a sore subject for Rex and Kanan, even though the two of them have actually told Ezra a ton about the Clone Wars. Because Ezra's like, cool, let's do these war games. And when they say, no, what are you thinking? Ezra's like, come on, you guys told me all about the Clone Wars. With a Jedi and a clone, what could go wrong? And I'm going, Jedi, lots of things can go wrong. I mean, they have their plans are good. Their plans are good, but then I honestly have never really seen or read anything where a plan put into action by a Jedi actually happens as it's supposed to. Usually something happens, but as Anakin says, that's when they're at their best, when they have to think things up as they go. But still, Ezra has obviously not been paying attention to his lessons or to his own adventures if he still thinks that a Jedi can plan something and have it go perfectly. That doesn't work. It's really funny that Ezra, outspoken as he is, catches Kalani's attention, and Kalani turns to Kanan and goes, "Is this your Padawan?" And Kanan goes, "Sometimes." I'm like, wow. Obviously, they are definitely father and son, because my mom says the same thing about me when somebody goes, "Is that your daughter?" She looks at me and goes, "Sometimes." So I thought that was funny. That made me laugh. It's like, wow, Kanan. But Kanan and Rex give in to Ezra's pleas, and they decide to go do these war games. And in the midst of them, they're doing really well, facing these battle droids, coming up with plans. But when Ezra holds the plan for just a minute to talk to Chopper, who sends out a distress signal through these ships that he found, shuttles, the plan works. It just takes longer than expected. Rex goes off on Ezra. I have never seen Rex. Okay, in Clone Wars, I've seen Rex get mad and upset, but I've never seen Rex go after someone. I don't even think Rex went after us. I don't ever remember Rex yelling at Ahsoka. Anakin did. I know Anakin did, but Anakin would like freak out over the smallest thing. But I don't think Rex ever went after Ahsoka. I've never actually seen Rex go after like a Jedi or something, like a Padawan. I mean, obviously, Ezra's young, and Ezra, of course, wasn't alive during the Clone Wars, doesn't really remember it. So it's kind of shocking for me to see Rex go after Ezra so strongly, telling Ezra this isn't a game, this is war. And it's like, well, it's a war game. And Kanan calmly reminds Ezra that Rex has been through a lot, so he has to be careful. And at the same time, I think it also reminds Ezra that not only did Rex go through this, Kanan went through this. And I think that plants a seed of something, because Kanan says the war never really ended, so Rex is trying to find closure, and Ezra's the one who puts two and two together and realizes that Kalani, the super tactical droid, that's also what it's looking for, is closure. So, when they finally reach Kalani, Ezra's actually the one who stops it, spoiler alert, by pointing out that their droids and Rex now have a common enemy. Yeah, bad guy. Their common enemy is now the Empire, because the Empire was the one who executed Order 66 in the first place, and then when the clones and droids were at the Regas, took them out by simply decommissioning the clones, getting them out of the army, and then turning off the droids. Kalani is forced to accept this, and the droids, Rex, Kanan, Zeb, Ezra, and Chopper come together to battle the imps that are arriving, and, well, of course, save the day. I already spoiled it a little bit, hopefully not too much. You guys have to go and check it out. It's actually a really cool episode, and I really like how it's Rex-centric, and they talk about how that for some people, going through an armed conflict like a war or something like that is just something that sticks with you, especially if you don't get the closure you need. Obviously, happily, Rex does get closure, so does Kalani, and they're able to move on. So, that ends happily. Next week's episode, for all of you Mandalorian fans, get excited. Next week's episode, well, actually, this Saturday's episode, oh my gosh, like I said, my brain is fried. This Saturday's episode is titled Imperial Super Commandos. That's right. Well, we're not going back to Mandalore. We're going to the Concord New Dawn, whatever. But yay, Mandalorians! Flying Mandalorians, as Ezra said in the trailer. That's right. Fenrir is back. In the Rebels Recon, don't forget to go check it out. The sneak peek they showed of the episode was Ezra, Sabine, and Fenrir going to the base of Fenrir's men, thinking it's a trap. But when they get up there, they realize it wasn't a trap. The base is completely destroyed. There's no sign of life. Fenrir's men were ambushed. And when Ezra and Sabine go, we're the Imperials, Fenrir says it's something worse. Mandalorians who work for the Empire. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Jetpacks. We're finally going to see Sabine's jetpack. Yay. Hopefully. I'm excited. I cannot wait for Imperial Super Commandos. I think it's going to be an awesome episode. And with that, this edition of Michigan Girl Pop Culture News is at an end. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys go and check out the video I posted yesterday of Michigan Girl Adventures, Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. I had a great time going there on Friday. We actually went and got up really early and went around 9 o'clock. So we got there about the time it opened. It was awesome. It was really early, so nobody was there. There's plenty of space. We were able to take our time. I got some really cool rumors, as you can see in the video. And I generally enjoyed it. Frankenmuth is such a beautiful place, even on a cloudy, somewhat rainy day. We had a great time. And then we went to a football game. So, as you can tell, I am once again just running on fumes at this point. But definitely go check out Michigan Girl Adventures, Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. And if you like it so much, and if you're ever in Michigan, I cannot stress to you enough, Frankenmuth and Bronner's are two of the places you really have to go to. It's incredible. So, thanks for watching. I'll be back next Sunday. Well, maybe I'm not sure. Next Sunday is Reformation Sunday, and as a Lutheran, that's kind of a big deal to me. So, I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to do a video that day. I don't know. So if I don't see you next Sunday, I will see you sometime next week. In the meantime, keep your eyes on the pop culture, on the news from pop culture and other places like political stuff. Maybe not politics. I'm so tired of politics. So, thanks for watching this edition of Michigan Girl Pop Culture News. I'll see you next week. As always, stay safe, have fun, don't burn yourself out too much. I'm Caitlin, your favorite Michigan girl, wannabe Jedi, pop culture nerd, and resident Disney geek. Once again, I'll see you guys next week. May the Force be with you.